Hello, I'm Samir, supply chain data scientist and founder of the startup LogiGreen. In this short video, I will introduce you the n8n template I designed to automate EDI message parsing. But first, what is EDI? So EDI means electronic data interchange. It's basically a protocol used by systems for supply chain to communicate between each other. Let's take an example of a large manufacturing company. They have an ERP, so Enterprise Resource Planning, which is basically a software that is managing procurement, finance, manufacturing, logistics. This ERP can communicate with internal systems like the transportation management system or the warehouse management system, but also can communicate with external systems, like for instance the ERP of the supplier or the ERP of their customers. And how do they communicate? Basically, they use electronic data interchange. It's a kind of a protocol to format messages to communicate between two systems. Let's take, for instance, the example of a retail company that is sending a purchase order to a supplier. What they do basically is they send a message with content information like the purchase order number, the items that are purchased, the price, and then they receive back an invoice. All this communication can be automatically and safely done using EDI messages. The problem that some companies are facing is implementing EDI message. For instance, you are a small manufacturing company with multiple customers can be extremely costly. And I have seen some examples where the EDI message parsing was done automatically. How does it look like? So here on the left, you have a purchase order where you have all the different information. So the company, the delivery address, the invoice address, the supplier, and all the information. And here you have the equivalent of the EDI message using the protocol EDI fact. The thing is, if you want it to be automatically formatted and deformatted if you receive like a message from an external search system, it can cost a large amount of money for development. And some small companies don't have the resources to do this. So I've seen some examples where the formatting and the deformatting of the messages were done manually. Basically, the orders were sent by EDIs via email and then they were manually processed using macros. Therefore, I designed an automating solution using Python initially to do this automatically. And now I'm going to show you the equivalent using n8n. Here is the workflow. It's pretty simple. So it starts with an email trigger. So you have your email address that is supposed to receive EDI messages. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to assume that the messages that contains EDI, their body, EDI messages in their body, EDI in the subject. So this is why here we are checking if in the subject you have the string EDI. If the string is present, then we want to extract the body. So here we are going to use this node that will just extract the body. And after extracting the body, we are going to parse it. And this is this node that I've written in JavaScript that is basically automating the parsing. I have added some comments, and some comments also were added by this Claude that supported me in this process. And then after the message is parsed, we extract two types of information. First is the order information, so here to know what kind of document type we have, but more importantly, what kind of order type we have, because we will have two types of orders. So let's assume that these messages are for outbound flows for the company. So we may have outbound orders, so we are a manufacturing company and suppliers basically ordering products, so that should be delivered in their location. Or you can have return orders where basically our supplier are returning back the orders. This information, to know if it's a return order or an outbound order, will be present in the order information. And then the rest of the information, so all the different order lines will be flattened using this JavaScript code and then split out, because for one order you can have different order lines. So let's say, for instance, you are manufacturing sodas and you have different types of sodas. Maybe the retailer will order one pallet of a specific soda and another pallet of a specific soda, another soda. So that will be two order lines. And then both information are going to be merged. And then here, this is where we classify if it's written order or not. And then here, what we are going to use is all the order line information are going to be copied and pasted in a Google Sheet. So let me show you here with the example. So what did I do? I sent to the email address this example of EDI message that I will keep, that you can find in the template. So to test the workflow yourself. Here I have kept the different fields with capital letters, so you can know, okay, where is the receiving order, where is the sender or ID. But let's imagine that in real, it would be like, for instance, real sender ID, that would be probably the ID of your supplier. A receiver ID would be us. And then you have some order information. Here you have two order lines, so product X and product Y. So I have sent this content with an email with the subject EDI message to my email address. And then it has been triggering this node. As you can see, we can see a snippet. So the beginning of the message, so which it's really our EDI message. So here then what happens is that we are taking the ID of the trigger to retrieve all the content, and then the parsing is done. And what happens here is what we have. We have 4 order lines that are copied to look at the Google Sheet to see what happens. So here we are in the Google Sheet. As you can see, the Google Sheet initially was empty, like this outbound. Now all the 4 lines are copied. So it's pretty easy, it's pretty simple, it's ready to be used. Okay, of course you can provide some improvements. So for instance, you can add a Telegram or Line or WhatsApp alert to the logistic team, or even an email alert to the logistic team to tell them that they receive an order. The content here can be pushed to a database. But I wanted to keep this workflow pretty simple. You can test it easily. The only thing that you have to set up is, of course, your Google Gmail API credentials for the Gmail nodes, and here your Google Drive and Google Sheet API credentials for the Google Sheet. But for the rest, nothing is needed, and of course, you can improve. The question is here, this workflow has been done for a specific type of EDI message. You have multiple type of EDI message, so probably here the code for parsing will be different, but a very easy way to do that is just to use an AI agent. So that would basically check which type of EDI message you have as an input and automatically parse the right information. I've tried that, but here the main objective was to show you that we can do it with JavaScript nodes, which also easy and avoid to share sensitive information to an API. Thank you.